Welcome back to another episode of Magic in the Mundane, specifically Under the Influence. Magic in the Mundanes, Under the Influence. I am who knows what I am, a consciousness in a body who calls himself Alyssa Trube. I am your guide. I am your host. I am a talking head that you're choosing to pay your attention to. I am whatever you project onto me, which might tell you a whole lot about you and a little bit about me too. And I am going to be the one bringing us through this information. And as I do, I thank you first and foremost for your trust as we move through what is, what will be the planetary influences. We, as really receptive beings, bodies, humans, are under the influence of so many things, under the influence of whatever you've eaten, the air you're breathing, the screen that you're looking at or listening to, the car that you're driving in, the last person that you hugged, the last person you thought about. We are under the influence of so many things. And the planets are included. And in Magic in the Mundanes, under the influence, we like to include the planets because this isn't about prophecy. This is about using structures or archetypes to help us to navigate what's already happening for us, to help us have a map for the wild territory that is this life. And we don't want to make that map what this is about, right? What this life is about, who even knows what this life is about? But where I'm standing, what this life is about is experiencing love, which is savage. It's about coming to know ourselves and coming to know others and coming to know ourselves through others and others through ourselves. It's about so many things. And what I'd like for you to do, because you, like I, am probably are probably grappling a little bit with some information overload right now. Uranus has entered Gemini. We know this, we feel this, and I will just be so straight up with you. This is like probably the 10th time I've started to record this episode. I am in full information overload. And so I'm just going to hand this shit right over to my body and do what I do when I drop in with clients, which is just let whatever wants to come out and come forward guide us as we drop in here. So, welcome. We are going to move through the Taurus New Moon at 25 degrees of Taurus, which is conjunct Uranus and Gemini. If you don't know what I'm talking about, because I'm talking astrology speak, just let it wash over you and just enjoy the sound of my voice. And if you're like, bitch, who do you think you are? Of course you like my voice. You're listening to it right now. There's so many things you could choose to listen to. Thank you for tuning in here. So just let it wash over you. If you're like, Alyssa, I don't get the gobbledygook, hobjob, blah, 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 of the planets. Yeah, we'll get to what it actually means in a second, but just take a deep breath, unclench your asshole with me, soften your belly, find your heartbeat. We're going to tune into this new moon in Taurus, conjunct Uranus and Gemini. This new moon is at the 25th degree of Taurus, which is not the kind of Taurus that's like, ooh, pleasure, silk, roses, let me smell it and drag it sensually across my face. Although that Taurus is fun too. This is more like the highly attuned body instrument Taurus that is very good at using the intangible animal body to discern and navigate. You know, we're quite a ways through Taurus at 25 degrees. In fact, we're almost in Gemini, right? And this Taurus new moon conjunct Uranus and Gemini is carrying this what it feels like to me, this storyline. The storyline of, hey, the last 8 years, we have had Uranus, the planet of freedom from the known, the planet of deconditioning, the planet that shocks us. It's associated with, the nervous system and electricity. And it has moved from focusing on like, hey, can you use your body, Taurus, to discern through what you feel what your actual values are? Can you discern your values based on what you feel in your body? What do you actually value? And we've been moved through the last 8 years through that process. Now, Uranus has just entered into Gemini. And now we get to have transformation, maybe some crisis, maybe some overload, maybe some shock. These are all Uranian themes, some disruption. around how we think and how we communicate, how we share information, Gemini. And so there's a big disruption that's probably happening, or it's a small disruption, but either way, there's a disruption happening in how we communicate, how we think, how we share what we think. And it's part of this new moon in a way that is, to me, it feels really nuanced because it's almost like we're taking these two archetypes that, inform each other, Taurus and Gemini. Taurus precedes Gemini. And we're going, hey, at least this is how I'm interpreting the cosmic stage. Hey, can you please use what you learned about being in your body and slowing down to the body pace, to the animal pace? Can you use what you've been asked to practice these last 8 years to help you to navigate the disruption that's happening for you? Most likely, the disruption that's happening for you around how you think, the amount of information you're being asked to filter, the amount of information you're being asked to integrate, right? As Uranus goes into and starts its 8-year progression through Gemini. So this new moon feels like that. Hey, can you slow down to the pace of the body? Your body already knows, and we need you to slow down to the pace of the body. It's not a handicap, I promise. This new moon's bringing us that. It's saying, hey, be here right now in your physical form. And we're going to look at the gene keys and we're going to look at the astrology and we're going to look at the human design of it. But I just want to give you this taste. So that's being asked. This new moon's going, hey, your body's been digesting some stuff. It's been processing some stuff. And if you keep popping out and going into information overload, you're going to miss it. But actually, there's a new thing happening for you. And you actually need to be finely attuned to the pattern break, to the novelty, to the new possibility. Because there's a new possibility here, a new possibility that's coming from the healing of the wound of self assertion. Okay. So you've got this new moon conjunct Uranus. So that means, and, it's also conjunct Mercury. So it's the sun, the moon, and Mercury are all in the gate 8, the gate of contribution or holding together. This in human design is a throat center gate, and it's about style. Okay, the shadow of it is mediocrity. It's in its shadow, it needs to be the same, right? So if we're like, oh, yep, I'm trying to be the same as I've always been. This is how I create safety. I'm trying to be the same as all the people around me. This is how I create safety. If I don't stand out, I'll be safe. That's the shadow of this moon. And the whole thing about style is that style is not just an aesthetic. Style is actually what rises up or emanates out from us when we're willing to slow down to that body pace. Taurus knows this. You don't fucking fake style. You can't imitate style. I mean, you can, but we're going to find out the truth sooner or later, right? The thing about the word style, and this is what this new moon is all focused around, style actually means it's distinguished, it's different. There's something happening here that's different, that is, like I said, distinguished, dare I say, unique. And you can't imitate unique. If you try to, that's when you end up in mediocrity. So we're going to use that Gene Keys language to deepen into this new moon. But what I need you to hear is that this new moon, sun, moon, and Mercury, all in the gate of contribution, style in its gift form, mediocrity in its shadow. It's sitting very closely. Let's just take a look at it. To Mercury, boom, moon, sun, Mercury, and then sitting very close to Uranus. And Uranus is not in the gate of style. Uranus is in the gate of the now, the gate of contemplation. And what I love about this is that as we know, Uranus has entered into Gemini. And this is a gate that in its shadow state gets stuck on the surface. In its shadow state, it's about the superficial. So just feel this for a second. When this new moon is going, hey, listen, I want you to feel this. If you're not willing to slow down to the pace of your body and actually be informed by what's happening in there, you're going to be stuck on the surface and you're going to essentially consent to mediocre, which is fine if that's what you want. But is that what you want? And if you don't want that, then the way that you start to decondition Uranus, freedom from the known, disruption, the way that you start to decondition is you actually start to divest from superficiality. You start to go, you know what? I know that our culture really exalts the way something looks over the way it functions. I know this. You know this. We know this, right? Oh, yes, yes, yes. Your branding, it's so good. Oh, yes, yes, yes. I'll buy your very expensive product because your branding's so good. I can't fucking feel you, but it looks pretty. And we do this all the time. We do this all the time. We do this not just with our businesses or our branding. We do this in relationships. Yeah, 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 it looks good. Oh, I'll just hold in what's true for me, what's real for me. I'll just hold it in because I don't want to be messy. But that's also going to make it so that I'm absent. I'm not here. I'm staying on the surface. The stone is skipping across the surface, but I am absent because if I drop the stone to the bottom, there's some messy shit down there, isn't there? What do we say? No mess, no magic. Who's had one of those weeks? Yeah, we're going to get into it. But I want you to feel this first. Just get the planetary scape. We got to look at where these characters on the stage are playing. We've got the moon, the sun, Mercury, boom, right there in the gate 8. You can see it right here. Moon, sun, Mercury, gate 8, right? If we're going to look at it more simplified, sun, moon, and Mercury. All in that gate 8, that Taurus gate 8 that lives in the throat that says, hey, listen, your contribution is your style. That's what it is. Your contribution is your style. But take the culturally added value, the shit that we put on the word style, like the fast fashion, the are you trending, the did you go viral, take the and take it off. Please take it off. That's not what style means. Style emerges from the body. Taurus is the animal. It emerges from the body and it cannot be faked. And the way you get there is through presence, but we got to decondition to get there. Okay, so that's boom. That's that conjunction. There it is. Moon, sun, Mercury. And listen, the Mercury piece sitting right here in the middle, I haven't touched on it a lot, but it almost feels like a repetitive theme because Mercury is, Gemini is ruled by Mercury. Mercury is the mind, the communication, Quicksilver. It reflects. So there's this way in which our mind right now, like we're being reminded, like, hey, listen, your mind, it's part of your body. Like your brain is part of your body. You, to quote Molly Strong, and when you're embodied, your mind actually works better. When you hand decision making over to the body and we learn, it takes time. I've been doing this for 7 years and I'm still really bad at it. I'm really bad at it. But it's okay. I'm getting better. I'm getting better. I'm learning how to discern. I'm learning how to decision make, how to decide through my physical form. It's a miracle that we can even do this after so much conditioning, but we can. So this new moon conjunct Mercury, conjunct Uranus, it's going, hey, listen, there's a whole new way available to you. There's a whole new way available to you. There really is. And it's almost on the periphery because it's a new way that's available to you based on new information, Uranus in Gemini, new information coming in. But that new information is coming in overload. It's coming in overwhelm. And if you're not in your body, you're going to miss being able to discern what information is for you and what information is important for you to bring back to your body, bring back to yourself. You're going to miss it if you're not in your body and you're trying to filter it with your mind. And you're also probably going to feel a little bit like, whoa, I can't sleep. I'm disembodied. I'm having a hard time like staying with my physical form. So we really need to stay in the body right now. So that's the first part of this. The second part of this, new moon, the part that has probably been even louder than what I'm talking about is the fact that Chiron, the wounded healer, which has been transiting through Aries for years now, I believe Chiron spends the most time in Aries, which is interesting, but don't quote me on that. I think that's true. Someone leave a comment about it if you know better than I do. Chiron is at the 28 degrees of Aries. Chiron in Aries is the wound of self-assertion. It's the wound that says, do I deserve this? Do I, can I get my needs met? Can I live? Can I survive? Can I assert myself? It's who am I? What am I even here for? Right? Aries is the first sign out of the gate. It's the strike of the match. It's really that moment of like, whoa, whoa, all of a sudden something has ignited. And the thing that has ignited is life. And Chiron in Aries is the wound, therefore, of can I trust the legitimacy of my own experience? Can I assert myself? And can I trust that assertion? Can I move from that assertion? Well, many of us know this wound and we call it people pleasing. Many of us know this wound and we call it manipulation. Many of us know this wound and we call it deception. We think, oh, I can't assert myself. I can't be straightforward. I can't say what's happening for me. I can't say my needs. If I do that, shit's gonna break. Anyone else have that Aries in Chiron experience? Or I should say Chiron and Aries experience, right? We all do. And it's going to depend on where Aries is in your natal chart, where you experience it. For example, if you have Aries ruling your seventh house, if you're a Libra rising, like you see right here on the screen, then your self-assertion wound is going to be in partnership, in relationship. If you have Aries, let's say in your 10th house, then it's going to be around your career or your profession that you're like, can I assert myself? Can I trust the legitimacy of my experience? Let's say it's in your sixth house. Aries rules your sixth house. Okay, well, then it's going to be about routine. Can I assert myself in my routine? Can I actually do that? Can I actually trust the legitimacy of my own experience around my routine and my mastery and what I do day in and day out? So you can find where Aries is in the wheel of your chart, look at the house, use time passages, go to the learning tab, and look at what house am I healing this wound in? For me, it's my third house. So it's communication. I'm healing the wound of self assertion around how I communicate. Can I trust the legitimacy of my experience and can I communicate it? Do I deserve to say my needs? Do I deserve to say, hey, here's what I'm feeling and this is legitimate, even if you're not feeling it too? Whoa, that's terrifying for my system. And if you're like me, if you're like most people that I have spoken to, which I am really fucking lucky to get to speak to many people through the lens of astrology and human design, and also friends that I don't speak through the lens of human design, but I have noticed that most of us are being challenged right now around this Aries wound of self assertion. Most of us are. And it hurts. And probably you have noticed it louder in your system, louder in your body, in your mind, in your experience the last like 2 weeks. Because Mars, the planet of assertion, right? Mars rules Aries. Mars and Aries have a likeness in their energy, just like Mercury and Gemini have a likeness in their energy. Mars, as it's been moving through Aries, has been getting closer and closer and closer to Chiron. And now you can see right here, Chiron and Mars are conjunct. So it turns the volume up on that already there Chiron wound. The wound being, I don't think I can assert myself. I don't know if I can get back up on the horse, to quote Timothy Halloran of Rasa Leela Healing. Aries is about assertion. It's about the will to live. There's a lot of predator prey theme when we talk about Aries. Are you going to be the predator or the prey? This is from Stephen Forrest's astrology. This is how he frames Aries. Do you want to be eaten or do you want to eat? It's the assertion of life. And right now, and for the last 2 weeks, there has been a finger in the wound. You've probably felt, oh, it's now or it's never. And you've probably felt this because Mars has been moving toward this conjunction, which means that it's very likely that you have felt some challenge, again, in whatever area of your life. I know for me, it's been the last month, but I've felt it condense and then press out into my lived experience rather than just in my own internal state. This theme of, the wound of self assertion. Can you heal it? Well, how do we heal it? if you've ever been injured before, if you've ever been injured before, I'm going to close this window. It's getting a little windy. If you've ever been injured before, then you know what happens. Let's say you injure your knee. What do you start doing? You start limping, right? Oh, it hurts to put pressure on. So you start limping. You start limping and you start walking in this way. And then you go to the doctor, you go to the physical therapist, and they're like, hey, you can't stop limping. If you keep limping, you're going to get stuck in this way of walking, in this way of moving. Your body's going to adapt to it. Then your muscles are going to, your muscles are going to adapt and your brain's going to adapt and your nervous system's going to adapt. And I know it really helps to take some of the pain away when you limp, but I need you to stop limping because if you don't, you're going to keep limping even after you've healed. Well, that's kind of the vibe of this Chiron, Aries, Mars moment. The vibe is like, hey, it hurts. It hurts to press onto the wound. It hurts to walk on it. But I'm going to need you to walk on it because I need it to heal correctly. I need you to heal correctly. And I know for me, that's what I've been being asked to do. Really, I felt the volume turn up around the Scorpio full moon, right? May 1st, Beltane. It was like, whoa, okay, the thing that's been inside can't stay inside anymore. And it actually feels like it's right timing. My body has been digesting the feeling. My body has been digesting what's actually true for me. And now all of a sudden, here we are. It's time to express it. And there's a fear for me in expressing it because you mean I have to say the thing that's the most true for me? And it mightn't hurt the other person? You mean I've got to bring that? Well, for me, Aries rules my third house. So yeah, it's around communication. Is the Aries wound? Where is yours? First house would be, I am yourself. Second house would be I value, I have your values. Third house is I communicate, your communication. Fourth house would be emotional security. Fifth house would be your expression out into the world. Sixth house would be your routines, the way the work that you do, the mundane. The seventh house would be partnerships. The eighth house would be where you merge, sex, death, transformation. The ninth house would be your embodied philosophy. Are you living the way that you believe? The 10th house is, are you professing it? To quote an astrologer that I love, profession in the 10th house. G from holy shit, why am I blanking? Cyborg Daydream. The 11th house, your community, your network. The 12th house, your unconscious, the liminal space. So wherever Aries is, there's probably a wound there that you're being asked to heal. And you're being asked to heal it by standing up straight and stop limping and start actually moving in a way that feels like how you actually move. Stop beating around the bush of the pain, and start giving yourself some new imprints. Now, why am I all of a sudden so focused on this? Well, we're being asked to heal the wound of self-assertion. And actually, this hasn't been a new theme because before the North Node was in Pisces, it was in Aries, right? Hit rewind back to 2024. That whole year and a little bit of 2023, the North Node was in Aries. And so there was a lot of this like, hey, you need to learn how to assert yourself, you know? And so this has been a theme that's culminating. So right now you're being asked, hey, something new is happening. There's a new thing that's starting to come to fruition here. But in order for it to come to fruition, you have to allow yourself to feel the pain and walk upright anyways. Feel the pain and don't limp. Yes, it's scary to assert ourselves, but we're never going to heal if we don't. This is a wound that isn't going to heal by us thinking about it. It's going to heal through us being about it, through us asserting a new way. And this is in a semi-sextile. It's like almost exactly 30 degrees to this new moon. What the fuck does that mean? Well, what that means is that, hey, there's something new emerging. We are starting to become conscious that there's a new evolutionary cycle starting. And so you can kind of read this like a story. Hey, the wound has been here. The wound of self-assertion has been here. You're being asked to heal it. The way that you heal it is by slowing down to actually feel what your body's been metabolizing and digesting, and then start to let yourself communicate what your body has been metabolizing and digesting in a new way. In a new way. If we were going to say this another way, we could say, look at where, if you're not driving, close your eyes for a second. Look at what's hurt in your life these past couple weeks. Just take a second and just, where have you felt the most like conflict, friction, tension? Where have you felt the most afraid to assert yourself? And did you assert yourself anyways? Did you assert your truth? That's what I mean. Did you trust the legitimacy of your own experience enough to assert your truth? If so, excellent. If not, you've got to probably do that. But I'm not your boss, right? Trust the legitimacy of your own experience and follow your own inner authority. I am not your authority. Your body is your authority. You follow that. But look at where, or feel into through those closed eyes and through your body, where there's been some challenge. And then notice if at the periphery of your awareness, and maybe you've already even started to implement this, but notice if, like, hey, instead of limping, instead of turning away from the pain, you've actually stood up straight and walked straight into it. You've stayed with your breath, you've stayed with your body. And as you've moved through that challenging, that sticky, that painful situation, notice if your body has been metabolizing something about it. Notice if it's been chewing on it, if it's been ruminating, right? If it's been chewing the cud, because this is actually what Taurus does. And at 25 degrees of Taurus, that progression is far enough through that there's probably something that your body is trying to, Mercury conjunct this new moon, communicate to you. And your body communication might be electric. It might be like, hey, you keep trying to turn away from this so you don't have to assert your truth and hurt someone, or you don't have to assert your truth and create conflict, or you don't have to assert your truth and risk being rejected, or you don't have to assert your truth and feel shame, or assert your truth and feel guilt, or you can't grapple anymore with this denial, however it's manifesting. But then there's this electricity and it's like, oh, I gotta come back to the body. There's something true here that I can't beat around anymore. I can't pussyfoot around this. I can't pretend it's not here. It's really true. And I have to assert myself. I've got to. That's what this new moon is asking us to do, but it's asking us to be really conscientious about how we do it. Why? Because whenever Chiron is involved, there's a way that we can react to the wound. And there's also a way in which we can be deliberate by being like, hey, there's a wound here. And I want to be tender with this, right? And we want to be tender with this. It's important that we're tender with this, actually. It's really important. But it's also important that we're not too precious with it, because we have to fucking change. And the moment to change is now. That semi-sextile to the moon, Chiron Mars, new moon conjunct Mercury, conjunct Uranus. It's like, hey, listen, whether you like it or not, there's a new evolutionary potential here. Do you want to take yourself up on it? And how this has been feeling for me is this feeling of like, I'm in a similar situation that I've been in before. And I'm navigating it like just a couple degrees different. I'm like, oh yeah, I would have done something different right there historically. I'm doing something that's new. And it's creating a new scenario. And it might just be a little bit different, but it's different. Instead of limping, I'm standing up and I'm going, hey, it hurts to walk upright, but I'm going to walk upright. Okay. And in that walking upright, the wound is healing. Now, why this matters is because we're being asked to do this with style, but we don't manufacture style. This new moon is all about style. It's all about style of rising from the body. So when I stand upright and I start walking and I say, hey, I'm actually terrified to assert myself like this right now, but I've got to do it so that I can heal the wound. I've got to do it so that I can actually get myself into this new evolutionary cycle that I can feel starting. What it's been feeling for me like is like, hey, is this the same? No, wait, hold on. There's something different here. There's something novel here. There's something new here. Wait, is there though? Wait, is there? Oh no, no, hold on. There is. There is. There definitely is. But what it's requiring is for me to stay in my own experience. For me to stay in my own experience and not manage other people's experience and trust, trust that there's a process happening. And as long as I show up asserting from a place that is true for me, in connection with my body and my inner authority, and communicating from that place in the body, hey, this feeling I have, it's not going away. Hey, it's here again. Hey, I'm noticing this again. You know, from this place, as long as I'm asserting from that place and I'm not trying to overload myself with information and figure it out just on the mental plane and make it go away on the mental plane, although there might be a lot of stimulus happening on the mental plane. Instagram, TikTok, social media, the news, AI, our robot friends, if you're using them, it's like there's a lot happening up here. And what we've learned these last 8 years is, hey, bring it back into the body. Bring it back into the body, bring it back into the body, bring it back into the body, please. That's how you're going to discern, actually. And it's not just how you're going to discern, it's also how, when it's time to act, which is what we're being asked to do, it's act in a new way. You're going to act, you're going to move with style because style matters. And here's the thing, we're going to get into a little bit of the gene keys here, but style is not an aesthetic. It's not just an aesthetic. Style is what emerges as we decondition and we return to the freedom of our uniqueness. God, I can say this all day up and down, and I still struggle with it. I still struggle with it. Lately, I've been doing so much back end stuff on like my marketing and my language and all the stuff that I just don't love. And when I do it, it takes energy away from the things I do love, the things that I feel like I have style around, the things that's like, oh, I want to create and I want to dance and I want to be in my client sessions and I want to have prepped this fun stuff for clients and share the podcast and write these posts. And it's like right now we're in a moment where we're being asked to come back. We're being asked to come back to the things that make us feel turned on and make us feel alive, because those things are going to help us to keep hope as we assert ourselves in a very challenging time. The shit's weird right now. It's horrible in some senses. And also, it's fucking glorious and the best it's ever been in other senses. If someone was like, Alyssa, how are you? I'd be like, I am thriving. And I am also deeply challenged. I've woke up more times in the past month feeling dysregulated in the middle of the night or having a hard time falling asleep than in a very long time. And that's uncomfortable, but it's also information. It's information because I'm going outside of my comfort zone. And that's what this whole moon is about. Yeah, it's a Taurus moon. We don't often correlate Taurus with going outside of the comfort zone, but I think that this is a misinterpretation. When Richard Rudd writes about this gate 8, which again, let's just look at the human design here. See that gate 8? You can see it right here. The shadow is mediocrity. Okay. This is the voice. You can see it's in the throat center. This is the voice of I am certain. I can contribute. And it's actually the gate that is correlated with the unique voice of the self, the unique self-expression. When Richard Rudd writes about this gate through the lens of the gene keys, he says, you know, he says, the eighth shadow, like all shadow frequencies, is founded upon a specific fear. And in this case, it is the fear of being different. The eighth shadow prevents individuals from rising out of mass consciousness and exploring the real adventure of life. This might seem so simple and so basic, but the whole thing here is like, if we don't choose to feel the wound, get upright, and rehab ourselves, learn a new pattern, walk a new way. If we don't choose that, we stay, if we don't choose that because we're afraid of feeling discomfort, we are afraid of feeling the shame of being wounded, or we're trying to avoid suffering. If we avoid getting upright, if we avoid asserting ourselves, we're gonna continue to trend toward feeling like husks of humans. That's not what we're here to do. We're here to be animated by aliveness. We're here to be alive. That's why you have life force flowing through you. And I know you know this. And there's a way in which we often are like, I can't assert myself. I cannot say what I need. I cannot say my own experience. I cannot follow my desire because if I follow my desire, it's going to bring me right to the fucking edge. And the edge is really uncomfortable. And so we wait. We wait for life to push us there. And it says it right here in Gene Keys. Only when life forces you to grow through some kind of crisis or death, for example, do you come to experience your true nature outside of the borders of your comfort zone. Now, that might be true from the shadow state, but I want to just challenge this and say, yes, and like, yes, crisis and challenge can bring us into these moments where we're like, oh, there's my true nature. Got it. Because all of a sudden we get shocked into being like, this is what really matters. Because we feel, holy shit, I'm going to die. Like my time here is limited. What am I doing? But we also can move toward our comfort, move outside of our comfort zone, excuse me, and move toward our edge, our edges, even when they're scary, even when they're uncomfortable, by deconditioning. This is this is what happens when we say, I'm going to be my own authority. You know, the practice of deconditioning is not a way to escape suffering. You're a human, you're not going to escape suffering. It's a way to suffer better. And that might sound silly, but it is what it is. You know, people will always, who are working with me, will be like, oh gosh, life is feeling so good and I'm so high and I'm on it and everything's flowing. And then something occurs, as it does, and they get thrown into a state where they're like, fuck, oh, this sucks. I feel horrible. It's not going right. What did I do wrong? I must have gone wrong somewhere. I must have gone wrong somewhere. And it's like, no, you actually didn't go wrong anywhere. This is life, right? Like this is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. You're going to keep having these really challenging situations occur that ask you to be brave, that ask you to summon your courage and meet the moment with style. Not artificial, not wooden, not I'm gonna just go through this discomfort and get try to get through it, but I'm fucking alive right now. That's a miracle. And if I move from that place, then and if I can connect with my body as I move from that place, I can come to know myself. And as I come to know myself, yeah, it's gonna be terrifying because it's gonna mean that I meet the resistance of the world. Now, what do I mean by this? I want to read this again. Gene Key is over here. I want to read this about the eighth. Richard read this when I read the eighth gene key the first time, which is where this new moon is sitting in the gate eight, gene key eight, gate eight, same. I was like, holy shit, I've never read something more true than this. He says, one of our deepest fears emerging from the eighth gene key is the fear of success. This fear is reinforced through its programming partner, the gate 18, the shadow of compromise. You compromise your dreams not because you fear you will fail, but because you know, hear this part, you know that to succeed, you will have to rebel against the whole of society and the expectations it has placed on you, or its expectations of you. Yeah, think about every time you make a decision that is from your own authority, as opposed to what you're supposed to do, or you should do, or you've been told is the right way. There is a terror there, you know, and the terror is I have to go against a lot of energy that is contradicting what my body knows to be true. And this This energy, this lot of energy, this dense energy has been so imprinted and so ingrained on you that it seems like it's easier to just stay in the homogenized sameness, just be the same as everyone else, just go the easy way. But the whole thing is that the easy way, the sameness, right? And the systems that condition us, they like sameness because, again, to quote Richard Rudd from the Gene Keys, when we're different, we actually threaten the system. So it's scary. We've been imprinted, if you're different, you're unsafe. Which I don't know about you, but does anyone feel safe in this environment, in this world right now? Again, I don't think, and look, I experience anxious thoughts in response to this all the time. So don't perceive that what I'm saying is like flippant. It's not. This is real shit. It's a whole adventure to decondition and be yourself. It's a whole adventure to say, I desire that, I want that, and I'm gonna go toward it. It's terrifying. And we need to summon our courage to do it. But don't think that I'm saying this from a place of not feeling impacted. Of course, I'm impacted, but it's terrifying. It's truly terrifying. And that's part of what makes us feel alive. It's terrifying to stand up into the wound and go, this is going to hurt, but I can breathe through it. My body's resilient and I'm going to assert myself. I'm going to trust the legitimacy of my own experience. Now, it's important that we say these things and feel these feelings because I want to just take us over to the map of consciousness for a moment. I want you to look at this. This is why we're doing Edge. This is why we're doing Edge, Shibari and Sensation Retreat, which I would love for you to come to. We have about 8 spots left. It's going to be an intimate group in this gorgeous Portugal villa where we are just like relaxed into our physical form, in the body, meeting what's real. And this is the thing. We can pop out and intellectualize and use these systems, human design, gene keys, astrology to navigate, but ultimately the realest fucking thing is being in our body. And Uranus through Gemini, oh, we need to stay in our body. If we don't want to get blown out, I can already feel it. I can already feel where this is going. I don't say this to fear monger, but if we don't stay connected to our body, as a discernment vehicle, as a decision-making vehicle, as the crucible that the alchemical process happens in, the alchemical process you are looking at right now, if we don't stay connected to our body, we are going to lose our humanity. We just will. And maybe some people choose that, and that's cool, but that's not the path I want to take, and I'm not going to take it. It's important we stay in the body because look, what happens in the body is this alchemical process: shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, desire, anger, pride, courage. Look at where fear and desire are. They are right next to each other. Fear and desire have a very similar frequency. I felt so alive 2 weeks ago when I brought my truth after trying to bring it multiple times. And I was like, yo, I need you to hear me on this. And then I did it again. Yo, I need you to hear me on this. And I brought it and I was crying and I was like, grounded but crying. Energy was moving. And I was like, here's my truth. I was terrified, but it also helped me to meet desire. And simply by summoning the courage to bring the thing, the whole frequency of it raised. By having the courage, this is what Aries asks us into. Courage heals the wound of assertion. You might feel shame. Can you still have courage to feel it and then to assert and bring your truth anyways? And this is where once we have that courage, we move into this state of self-empowerment where it's like, oh, whoa, the process is processing. The feelings are moving, things are happening, and I can now feel acceptance. I can feel a willingness to meet what's here. I can feel a willingness to hear what the other person has to say. I can feel a willingness to go, oop, yep, I was just defensive there. Or, oh, yeah, I'm feeling like I'm taking on too much responsibility for your emotional state. Whatever's happening, we need to be willing to summon the courage to move toward the edge. And it's not about moving toward the edge. It's about following desire. It's about following our internal compass. It's about following what's true for you and following what's true for me. Desire has a direction to it. Turn on is directional. I'm going to move toward something that turns me on, and I'm going to move away, most likely, from something that turns me off. Our bodies are woven with all of these forces beyond gravity, right? That repulsion, attraction, turn on, turn off, arousal or sedation. It's like things are happening all the time and our bodies are where it's being processed. So summon the courage to move toward what you desire. And yes, you might find that as you move toward the edge, just like I do, there's fear there. But when you get there, can you not say to yourself, wow, I feel so alive? I feel so alive. And it's when we feel so alive that, we are at risk because it's so much sensation in our bodies. We're at risk, especially with Uranus and Gemini, to pop up into the mind and try to create safety through thinking. I don't know about you all, but I am so good at doing this. I have the channel of structuring Genius to Freak. I mean, look, I'm literally creating structure for you right now so that you feel safe, so that you can hopefully be more you, so that you can hopefully take more risks that are meaningful to you in your experience. Some structure is great, but Uranus and Gemini, the tendency, at least what I'm noticing and projecting onto you, Uranus and Gemini, the tendency is to knee jerk into narrating very quickly and trying to get more information, more information, more information from the mental plane to narrate so that we can feel safe. And what this new moon is pitching is like, actually, actually, why don't you come back to your body, which is like a huge antenna, and it's taking in all of this information. Why don't you come back to your body and let your body guide you through whatever you're moving through? Let your body lead the way. You don't have to turn the information off, but let your body discern and let your body navigate and let your body tell you where you need to assert. Because the thing you need to assert around, no matter what arena of your life it's been there for a while now. It's not going away and it's ripe. It's been fermenting, it's been metabolizing, and now is the time to fucking bring it. And don't bring it defensively, bring it honestly. Okay. Now, before we close this conversation out, let's do a quick recap and then I want to add one more variable because this variable I want to add is huge and it's going to be here until really the end of July, early August. So the variable we're going to add is that the North Node just moved into the gate 55, and I want to talk about it a little more than we already have. The North Node in the gate 55 is this Piscean energy, and it's very specific to this victim to freedom spectrum that we experience. Come 2027, we will be in a new cycle. And that's a 400-year cycle based on the precession of the equinox, which to my understanding is where the sun literally rises on the equinox. We call it Aries, but where it's literally moving through, it changes over time due to the tilt of, I think, the Earth. Anyways, we will enter into a new 400-year cycle where the precession of the equinox will occur in the gate 55. And so right now we're getting a little taster of what will hit us come 2027 and beyond, which is like, hey, how are you going to respond to this experience? You can see the North Node is in the 55. That's Pisces. The South Node is in the Virgoan gate of sexuality or dispersion. And what these gates bring, what these archetypes bring, are really important to us right now because as we talk about everything that we just talked about, the background frequency, the music that we are dancing to has changed. It was community. It was prove yourself to be in community. It was put the focus on community, put the focus on gathering. We were under the influence of this. How do you show up? How do you contribute? How do you bond with other people? How do you be equals in relationship? How do you negotiate your terms and conditions? How do you be honest? How do you show up? How do you have emotional endurance in relationship? And all of a sudden, we are out from under the influence of that channel. It's gone. We are not under the influence of the channel of community anymore. We are now under the influence of the nodes in the Pisces gate 55 and in the North Node and in the Virgo and gate 59. And this gate 55 is really like it is a main theme of our generation, of all humans alive right now. It's a main theme that we are about to get initiated into. This gate 55 is called the gate of spirit. And the kind of mantra for it is abundance is strictly a matter of spirit. Well, what isn't? We've talked about this gate a lot. What isn't a matter of spirit? The I Ching hexagram of abundance has a central theme where it's like true abundance is not material condition. It's a question of your spirit. And this is a really important thing to ground into. A couple years ago, I did a wake and bake session where I smoked a joint and I had some coffee and I listened to a set that a friend sent me and I was dancing as the sun rose. And as I was dancing, it hit me, it hit me like, Alyssa, abundance is not about getting more or having more. True abundance is about really being with what you already have, like being deeply with it and enjoying it, experiencing what you already have. This gate 55, it represents the emotional and spiritual richness that arises from within us. And it points to this richness arising within us because it's like, hey, what's your mood? What's your attitude? What are you feeling? What's your inner life like? And can you feel how that inner life, it actually influences everything around you? It influences everything. When people have this gate 55 defined, they tend to move through the world with a deep awareness that's tied to the cyclical nature of feeling. People that have this gate defined, their experience is very much filtered through a spiritual sensitivity. They have a connection to the undercurrents of what's happening. And so, right now, collectively, the background frequency is like, hey, you're going to be more aware of the undercurrents. You're going to be more aware of the spiritual evolution that you are being asked into. Are you going to be a victim or are you going to choose freedom? And what the fuck does that even mean? What does that even mean? Because here's the thing. I don't think freedom means what we think it means. I just don't. Freedom isn't throw everything to the wind and just have no commitments. Freedom is about choice. Freedom is about choosing well. Freedom is about making decisions from your body, from the truth of your body. In this gate 55, with us under the influence, I should say, of this gate 55, we are at the pinnacle of hey, you can feel life's potentials. You can feel the intangible dimensions of existence. You can feel abundance. You can feel love. And there's a new way emerging. And I'll do a whole episode just on these notes because they really turn me on. Because I think there's a whole new way emerging in how we do eros and sexuality and connection. And it's not just about fucking. The least interesting thing about sex is just fucking. It's, of course, amazing and hot and beautiful, but it's not about that. It's not just about that. It can be about that, but it's not just about that. There's something happening where there's a sublimation happening. We're at the edge of a new way. And that new way does not make fucking wrong. It doesn't. It's part of it. But it's not central. At least not the literal act. Okay. The metaphor, whole nother story. But to come back to it, this gate 55 asks us, hey, what's your spirit? When you're provoked, when life throws some shit your way, which it's gonna, what's your spirit like? How do you actually meet it? I always tell the story with this gate 55. Um, if someone's sitting next to me poking, 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 and it's starting to annoy me, I can turn to them and be like, stop fucking poking me. Or I can grab their finger and I can pull them up into a dance. It's going to depend on my mood and my spirit, which one I do. And one is not better than the other. They're just responding to a provocation differently. Either could be freedom. It just depends on what I choose and what's correct for me based on what's happening in my body. So, based on this whole conversation, here's what I want to land. The North Node just moved into the gate 55, which means it's asking us to say, hey, are you going to be a victim to your circumstances? Are you going to be a victim to your feelings? Are you going to be a victim to your thoughts? Or are you going to choose freedom? And if you're going to choose freedom, what does that fucking mean? So if we ground all of this in the nodal axis, what we're looking at here is, can you trust your body to discern through the information overload? And can you trust your body as it's discerning through the information overload to bring you what's real and to bring you what's true? And to bring it to you in a way where you go, oh, that's unique to me. Not through the mind, but where you go, oh, yeah. You know, my sister, my brother, my friend, my colleague, my husband, my wife, my partner, my mom, my dad, they don't do it this way, and that's fine. I don't need to do it the way that they do it. So, can I trust what's coming up through the body? And then as I trust it and I feel, whoa, okay, that's here still, I'm going to use my body to discern through the information overload. And now I know how to act. Now I know the assertion I need to take. Can you take that assertion in order to heal the wound around it? The wound that says, you shouldn't assert there. No, no, no. You don't deserve that. Who, you? You don't deserve to have your needs met. How audacious. Can you actually stand up and rather than limp, can you practice walking with good form, with style, as guided by your body? And can you see how, as you're doing all of this, you're actually naturally dancing to the background music that says victim or freedom? Victim or freedom. You know, that south node is sitting in the gate 59. That shadow of the gate 59 is, well, it's dishonesty. And so right now we can use dishonesty as a signpost. We can say, hey, if we're being dishonest with ourselves and others, then we're probably not in freedom. If we're being honest with others, even if it's uncomfortable, if we're being honest with ourselves, even if it's uncomfortable, then we're probably getting closer to freedom because we're creating intimacy. And that might be uncomfortable, but that also means that we're healing the wound of self-assertion because we're trusting ourselves to bring the legitimacy of our own experience, which is a hard thing to do when you're conditioned not to, when you're conditioned to just shut up and be bland and just sit down, smile, right? Can we be honest with ourselves and others? Can we act from and assert from that honesty? And as we do it, rather than trying to create safety through the mind and all the information that we're being bombarded with, the right way to do it, the right way to do repair, the right way to say this, all the therapists you need, all the things you need, all this, all that, all blah 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 blah, blah, what Claude says, what ChatGPT says, what the newest thing says on your fucking Instagram, what the latest newsletter says. Rather than all that, rather than us looking for an external source of authority, can we ground it back into our body? Let our body discern it and let us move from the body, which naturally will be stylish and will connect us with freedom naturally. Now, I want to just read you this because it only affirms that little moment of that house set that we listened to. It says, style is dangerous to society and its logical structured system-based thinking and infrastructure. Style is dangerous because it mimics nature, which so many systems try to control and explain. Like nature, style is given shape by a wild, organic, and unpredictable energy. It is full of genius and quantum leaps. It goes on to say, such freedom is truly contagious. Such freedom is truly contagious. When you are moving from style, there is a freedom there that is truly contagious. So on this new moon, I want you to slow down to your body pace. Go take a walk. And just say to your body, hey, I want you to walk me. I want you to walk me. Put your body in front of your mind and notice how your body moves and recognize the style that emerges as your body moves. And as you recognize it, go, from this place, how would I assert if I was being true to myself? What would I share? How would I move? What would I ask for? What would I say? And then allow yourself to move that way, knowing that even if it's uncomfortable, even if it creates a whole process that has to happen, that's what you're here to do right now. That's what I'm here to do. We're here to move through the mess of being humans. We're not trying to beat around the bush of suffering. We're trying to learn how to walk upright, being our own authorities, and knowing that freedom isn't freedom from suffering. Freedom is, I know how to suffer well. I know that being a human means the full spectrum of the human experience. The gate 55 is literally that. It is the full spectrum of the human experience. It is where we meet God in the chart. It is emptiness, it is fullness. No one knows emotional depth of pain like the gate 55. This is not about escaping pain. This is about understanding that it's part of our human experience and that we are actually well equipped to feel it. Get out of the comfort zone. Feel sensation. It will make you come alive. Follow desire to the edge. Come to Portugal with us. Do the thing that you're afraid to do. Say the thing. Risk being rejected. Bring your heart forward. Show up in tears. Hug your friends. Look in their eyes. You are alive. And being alive is freedom. It is wild. And that wildness, remember the chaos training episode? Yeah. Well, that wildness is where there's a conjunction between Mars and Chiron. So that chaos training that you've been doing, that dancing, that moving, that following the impulse, well, you're going to get to practice it. You're going to get to assert it right now because look, Mars in Aries, conjunct Chiron, is in that gate 3. Yes, newness is terrifying. It is scary because we can't establish order yet. But if we stay in it and we trust our bodies to discern through it, we trust our bodies to discern the information overload through it, we will find the correct way. We will find the rhythm. We will start to be able to move. And when we do, we will move with style. But you got to trust that. And it's going to be real hard to trust it if you can't drop into your body. But this is what the new moon wants from you and from me, from we. So let's do it. We're gonna die one day, but right now we are alive. So let's fucking act like it, yeah? Okay. Thank you for joining. Thank you for following this all the way through. I will see you on the other side. And I really, really mean it. If you made it this far, thank you so much for your trust. Thank you for extending your focus and your mindscape to the words that I want to share here. It is an honor. It is an honor. Thank you for your trust. Cheers to the dance.